thunder, fire, death.
I remember a wife, a son, home. Ithaca's a kingdom waiting for a king.
My dad is coming home.
They're pining for a daddy you didn't even know. Like some sniveling bastard.
Ithaca's king is coming back.
Bringing vengeance. Bringing it all.
I could take the throne. They're not giving up power to you or Odysseus.
Of blood. The gods told you.
Then I defy the gods.
So hello everyone, welcome to the Teacher's Review. I finally start on my review video. So today I want to talk about the Odyssey, the movie that I just watched twice. I must say that Christopher Nolan is my most favorite director all time. I mean, no one has replaced him, and for me, that every movie that he released really speaks volume to me. Of course, including the Odyssey. To be honest, last movie that has been released by Christopher Nolan, which is Tenet. Oh no, not second previous one, because the previous one is Schopenhauer, right? I forgot the title, but it's about Schopenhauer. But the second previous one is Tenet, and I must be honest, I am quite disappointed by the movie. It's not because the movie itself is not great. I think it has a potential and a very amazing concept behind it, but I think the execution is a little bit not up to Nolan's standard. I'm not talking about the standard in general director, only in Christopher Nolan's standard. Okay, but we're not talking about Tenet right now. We're talking about the Odyssey. Before the Odyssey released, I actually like The Dark Knight the most. I think it's perfect because it has perfect dialogue. The script is perfect. The movement, the choreography, the cinematography, I think everything is just suits my taste, at least. And of course, there's Joker there. That's what makes that movie is level higher from any other movie that I thought is great. And finally, the Odyssey can replace the Dark Knight in my heart. I actually love Greek tragedy. I mean, I like a lot of things. I'm a generalist to the max, but I specifically love the Greek tragedy. I mean, like, what's not to love? There are a lot of a moral message that you can get, and this story is quite amazing and like very, very creative, innovative, even at this, especially at the time period. I mean, like, the Atlas who holds the world, what is that? I think it's quite great. And how about Pandora's box? It's like representing the old saying that curiosity kills the cat, of course, the narcissist. The narcissist is like quite funny. Like, that man who just drowned himself just because he is amazed by his own reflection. Yeah, that's quite outstanding, All right, now I'm rambling again. Let's go back to the Odyssey. Never have I ever, in my wildest imagination, thought that I will put Nolan and Greek Tragedy side by side, but it happened now, and I am ecstatic about it. So the first thing that I want to talk, to be honest, is the thing that I have the least understanding about it, but still, as a movie enthusiast, I think I can state my opinion, right? Well, everyone has opinion. It's about cinematography. I'm not exactly an expert to this, but I really like the high contrast in the Odyssey movie. Sometimes when one movie has, I think, the high saturation, I think that gives the highest contrast. Probably I was wrong. I'm so sorry if I was wrong. It can be seemingly cheap, as in like low standard of quality. I think the high contrast movie with too much high saturation can give uncomfortable feeling, you know. It can create a sensory overload. However, I think Nolan has a good balance in like portraying the high contrast in the movie and portraying the soft tone into it. So I think it's quite pleasant to look at. I really enjoy how the display of the movie, the visualization aspect of the movie. Well, however, I probably want to say one weakness of this movie. Well, it's a little bit spoiler probably. So there's this Cyclops. It's a giant, right? So you will know that there's giant in the movie. It has an awkward movement sometimes, and so I think this is CGI effect. And I know Christopher Nolan avoid CGI, but probably he really needs to use it, or probably it's not CGI at all. But I'm pretty sure that it's CGI effect. That's the one weakness that I found in the movie. Okay, let's move on to the acting. In all of Christopher Nolan movie, I never found the bad actor or bad actresses. I believe that if the movie director took a lot of great care about their movie, they will make sure that everything was perfect, including the execution of the acting part. It probably took a lot of takes. For one, but of course, before actual shooting, probably he took a lot of care for finding the perfect actor for the roles. So, actor and actresses is like world class professionals, and I think some of them actually win the Oscar. Of course, the main character will take a lot of attention, right? Matt Damon has perfect acting, I think, because the way he moves, I mean, like it's just portraying him as Odysseus, that is not the strongest man, but has wisdom and has like a tactical mind, right? So sometimes people who is the smartest is not exactly the people with the good posture and this strong, what is it, positioning, if you may call it. His expression, like, it's portraying his feeling most of the time. Yeah, I think all the time. You know, I think Odysseus is not exactly a happy person because he rarely smiles. But yes, of course, this is Greek tragedy. You name it, people name it Greek tragedy for a reason, right? It has a lot of tragedy, especially in Odysseus' journey. But I must give extra credit for Robert Pattinson. To be honest, remembering his role in Twilight makes me surprised that I will say this, but I think Robert Pattinson acting is the most outstanding in this movie because I think he puts a lot of small little details that making the level of his acting up to up to notch. Is that how you say it? Yes, up to notch. Because there's a micro expression that he puts in his facial expression. I think that what makes him outstanding in this movie, even slightly more outstanding than Odysseus itself. But to be honest, because I fell in love with the Odysseus character, probably I will be more subjective, and I know I'm subjective. I still love Matt Damon. Okay, now let's move to the what is probably little details that no one put in this movie. So lately, then people has been talking a lot about Botox. I don't really know about these cosmetical procedures, but I think Botox that makes everything is like lift up again, like make your skin look young again. No, that is the diplomatic way of saying that. And what I heard last time is Anne Hathaway has that cosmetical procedure as well. So she has lost a little bit details in their face to show her emotion. Like when you're frowning here, that there's this thing. Skin flexibility makes little details in your facial expression that shows your emotion better than anyone else. But in this movie, you can see that that's not happening. That's not what happened here. Anne Hathaway still has a lot of, I don't know, skin flexibility. What do you want to say that? So you can see like when she's frowning, there's a wrinkle in her forehead. But I thought that is one of Christopher Nolan's work. So he really put a lot of details in the movie. So everything will seem realistic. Like for example, I will talk about the giant again because you already know it already. If you look closely to the giant, the skin is really rough. Yes, so I think we must give Christopher Nolan credit again for the detailing. I also love the wide angle shot. It gives a great movie experience. You know, a lot of visualization, pleasantries, if I must say, because it's really beautiful. And you know what Nolan did in every movie. The shot of the water surface, you'll see it there, and then there's this like a sand, like a beautiful cream colored sand with a goldish brown nuance in it. It's absolutely stunning. Okay, move on to the next one. Now I want to talk about the Odyssey itself. I think Odysseus' journey represents everyone's journey. I think Odysseus is us at some point because you can see in his journey there are a lot of challenges that he needs to take. So let's talk about the background story. The Trojan War happens because judgment of Paris. So there's this golden apple story. One of the goddesses got angry because because she didn't get invitation to a certain wedding. So she threw a golden apple for whatever reason, probably just to stir up the conflict, and it did create a conflict between Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite. So the three goddesses chose Paris and let him choose between the three things that most men want, which is power, money, or woman. And in Indonesia, we call it harta tahta wanita, which has a good rhyme. Paris finally chose woman, and that led him to Helen. However, Helen is not a single woman. He belongs to Menelaus. Woman is the property of man, and Menelaus actually used Helen as a trophy wife. So I watched two movies, Helen of Troy and Troy. In the second movie, Menelaus literally showcasing Helen in front of guests, to show his power as a man, right? Then Paris fell in love with Helen, and Helen also fell with Paris, and they decided to elope, which is actually perfect for Agamemnon. Who is Agamemnon? Agamemnon is the big brother of Menelaus. If Paris chose woman, Agamemnon chose power. Agamemnon is like a very ambitious man that wants to take over all cities in Greece. So finally, he has every reason to attack Troy. So what you must know is Troy is like unbeatable city. They have the most defense, and then because the elopement, finally Agamemnon like gathering all the power and start attacking Troy. And of course, Troy is still unbeatable. But Odysseus is a very tactical man. So he came up with the idea of Trojan horse. They disguised the horse as a gift to Athena as a peace offering. And they pretend that they left. And they put the Trojan horses actually filled with Greek soldiers. That's the start of the fall of Troy because they believe it. So I'm facing technical difficulties, so I need to move the setting, but I think it's good too, and it's actually more convenient. So continue about the Odysseus journey. What's great about Odysseus is how resilient and how patient he is in overcoming his challenges. For them to take over the Trojan city, it took literally 10 years. I don't know how they survive in that situation. They're just building some kind of camp and they literally live there for 10 years. I mean, like how they gather the food. Is it from the sea? Do they only eat fish? I'm not sure how because well that's not what this movie all about. And then let's move on to his journey to go home. His resilience and his patience is actually bringing everything fall into the place. It creates safety and stability among his crew. So his crew is quite calm and collected when they're on his journey. Christopher Nolan always successful in portraying the various perspectives on human beings so that there's no this perfect character. This has also made a bad judgment that makes the crew questioning his leadership. What I love about Odysseus as well is how he has a lot of empathy for the people that is loyal to him. It can be the greatest strength and it can be his greatest weaknesses because his empathy and his love and his care for his crew actually make him defy God on his journey. Of course, it leads them to Poseidon anger or to another challenges from other gods. I mean, I think mostly they talk about Zeus here. The Odyssey is all about loyalty, how to take control over the situation, and how to let go of the control of the situation. It portrays these two sides of gods and goddesses in Greek. They can be very wise, like it's being portrayed by Anna's wisdom, but can be very cruel and unforgiving, like Poseidon. Let's say that the wind and the sea has turned against them, and they literally say that in the movie. I want to talk about the symbolization of this movie as well. The best one comes from Agamemnon and Helen, actually. Agamemnon is the leader of all these Greek soldiers, but of course it's not the main character of the story. But I love that Christopher Nolan used Agamemnon as a symbol of greed, ambition, and power. I mean, to be honest, Trojan City didn't do anything. They didn't break Zeus' law. They are like worshipping Athena at its most. And the only thing that makes Trojan City fall is Agamemnon's thirst of power. Then there is Helen. I'm quite astonished when I see Helen here because in the previous movies, Helen of Troy and Troy, Helen is always portrayed as a white woman with a blonde hair. I mean, like, that is American beauty standard, right? However, in this movie, Helen is being played by this black woman with a beautiful brown skin. When I saw it, I think it makes a perfect sense to me because I mean, like, Helen is the most beautiful. She has renowned beauty in all the world at that time. So of course, it cannot be standard, right? I mean, you cannot put the standard by beauty campaign from the media because it takes something more. So I think Nolan's interpretation about Helen's beauty is quite outstanding because it actually makes sense because Helen's beauty is supposed to be out of the world, and it cannot be side by side by the beauty standard. I'm so sorry about the blonde woman. I'm not saying that you're standard, but let's say that if you want to portray something outstanding, usually it has more unique perspective, right? At least in my personal opinion. And let's say about the script. I think it has a beautiful writing, as usual, Christopher Nolan show a poetic side of him. The dialogue is very poetic, especially when in the siren scene. Well, you need to watch it to know the complete picture. But when Odysseus hears the sirens, he describes it as the song is about what you wish. I mean, I am not good with detailing, but I'm sure you can find the quote somewhere. The wish that you never wish you have, the wish that you have fulfilled and lost. Okay, I'm not good at detailing. And there are a lot of things that I want to talk about this movie. The portrayal between Odysseus and Telemachus. I think I made a mistake in my TikTok video and said it Telemachus. I'm so sorry, Telemachus. So what I love about this movie is how Christopher Nolan can realistically picture the Odysseus, the most experienced warrior probably. He's not a warlord. Warlord would be Agamemnon, right? And then there's this Telemachus, which is still young and inexperienced. Odysseus that has this throne in Ithaca for many, many years, and this young man that has never been rule anything. So Christopher Nolan is portraying in the almost final scene. Yes, it's final. In the climax scenes, and he's showing like side by side how they're fighting in a different way according to their experience. So it shows unspoken bonding between a man and a boy and the father and son. Alright, just like edited my book, I feel like when I edited the video, there is still something that feels lacking in my video. And I think I need to add the character of Odysseus itself. To be honest, I don't know whether Matt Damon is really, really good at portraying the Odysseus or it's just a beautiful coincidence. However, I think that in the last fighting scenes, you can see how Odysseus is not actually the strongest man in the earth. He doesn't really valiantly fighting all the men. However, and you can see from his expression, from his movement, there were the moment of weaknesses there. There are moment of confusion there. So it gives me a realistic feeling of human being, right? Odysseus is only human being. He's not even demigod. Yes, it gives a bit of texture in Matt Damon's acting, and of course, it gives a beautiful interpretation of Odysseus' character. I think it is probably the interpretation of how long the journey that Odysseus has been going through. So I think it puts a layer to the Odysseus character. So, well, of course, one is the music score. I almost forgot to add
the music score in my review, because I think the music score is excellent. It has a very different ambience, than other music score that Christopher Nolan used to use. I think there is something mystical about it, it fits the nuance of the movie, which is Greek mythology. There's a spiritual feeling about it, and especially the last song that was being played in the credit, it has chants. So when the music is playing, there are people who chants the spell, whatever you call it, and it has like hypnotic feeling about it. Okay, and that's the music score. However, I must talk about sirens, because when I heard sirens for the first time, it's kind of deflated, because it felt like the music score is just too, too mediocre, if I must say. I mean, like, I don't say that it's not good. Of course, it's beautiful piece. I love it as well. It's just that it doesn't fit the description. So the description about these sirens is really amazing, and it has a crucial feeling about it. Siren has the fatal effect for the travelers, right? So I think it needs something that is more spiritual, like the last song that was being played in the credit. It's just that for me, it's not up to the standards. It's not up to the great description that is being portrayed in this movie. However, I really love how, okay, it's a little bit spoiler, but so I really love how the sirens is being played again. So it feels like, I think this is the romantic side of Christopher Nolan, representing how deep this is feeling to his wife. So I think the scene showed the deep emotion. The fact that the sirens is being played gives a feeling of a deep connection between two of them. Yes, that's beautiful. Well, in conclusion, the Odyssey movie is all about loyalty, and loyalty in many perspectives, like loyalty between men and their gods and goddesses, between the soldiers with the kings, and then a husband to a wife and a wife to a husband, and how the gods and goddesses test Odysseus' strength and resilience, and of course his loyalty to the gods and goddesses. The movie is quite rich in moral messages. Well, yes, I think that's all that I want to say. If you want to add more the intrinsic aspect of this movie that I haven't discussed, you can leave your thoughts in the comments. And do I have to rate this movie? If I must rate this movie, I think I want to rate it 6 stars out of 5 stars. Well, I know I said about the weakness, but the weakness is so small I don't even care about it. So yeah, I think I will give this movie 5 stars. So yes, I think that's all. See you later. See you in the next video.